You grab your keys, put on your shoes, and your dog already knows. That look in their eyes, the way they follow you to the door, maybe a whine or two. You leave, the door closes, and you spend the next hour wondering if they're okay. But here's what actually happens in those first moments after you leave, the ritual your dog goes through that you never get to see. And if you think your dog just sits by the door waiting all day, wait until the end. Because what scientists discovered about the goodbye ritual will completely transform how you feel about leaving your dog alone. 1. Have you ever noticed how your dog knows you're leaving before you even touch the door? You could be getting ready an hour before you actually leave, and they're already showing signs. Most owners think their dog is just smart or intuitive. Here's what's really happening. A 2017 study from the University of Lincoln found that dogs can detect up to 23 different microbehaviors humans perform in pre-departure routines. Picking up keys, checking your phone repeatedly, putting on certain shoes, grabbing a specific bag. Your dog has mapped your departure sequence with astonishing precision. But here's the fascinating part. They don't just recognize the pattern. Research shows they experience anticipatory anxiety that begins the moment the sequence starts, not when you actually leave. So when you're still brushing your teeth and your dog is already looking anxious, they're not overreacting. They're responding to a chain of events they've learned predicts separation, and their stress response is already activating. That morning routine you think is subtle. To your dog, it's a detailed script they've memorized, and they're reading ahead to the ending they don't want. 2. Now let's talk about that moment right before you walk out. The look they give you, the way some dogs try to block the door, others just stare. Most people feel guilty and think their dog is begging them not to go. Here's the science. A 2019 study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science discovered that dogs use what's called appeasement behaviors during owner departures. Those puppy eyes, the lowered head, the gentle approach aren't manipulation. They're actually trying to regulate both their own stress and yours. Dogs can smell the cortisol in your sweat when you're rushed or anxious about leaving them. Their pre-departure behavior is often a response to your stress, creating a feedback loop. Think about it. You feel guilty, so you get more emotional. Your dog senses your distress, which increases their anxiety. You delay leaving, which reinforces their behavior. So that goodbye gets longer and more emotional, not because your dog is making it harder, but because you're both caught in a stress cycle neither of you knows how to break. 3. Here's what happens in the first 5 minutes after you close that door. This is the part most owners never see, and it might surprise you. Most people imagine their dog sitting by the door, crying for hours. Here's the reality. Research from the University of Bristol equipped homes with cameras and monitored dogs during owner absences. They found that separation distress follows a predictable pattern, and it's not what most people expect. In the first 60 to 90 seconds after departure, stress levels peak. Dogs might pace, whine, or check the door. But here's what happens next. Between 2 and 5 minutes, most dogs enter what researchers call a search phase. They move away from the door and start checking your scent locations. Your bed, your favorite chair, the bathroom, places where your smell is strongest. They are not frantically searching. They're gathering olfactory comfort, surrounding themselves with the evidence that you exist and will return. Watch for this if you ever check a camera. That's not destructive behavior or panic. That's self-soothing through scent connection. 4. Now here's something that breaks a lot of hearts when people realize it. Your dog doesn't just wait passively for you to return. They actively track time and predict your arrival. Have you ever come home at an unusual time and found your dog wasn't at the door? Or arrived at your regular time and they're already waiting? Most owners think it's coincidence. It's not. A 2020 study from Northwestern University found that dogs can track time through multiple mechanisms including circadian rhythms, routine patterns, and remarkably, scent decay. Your scent in the home gradually fades while you're gone, and dogs can measure this degradation with incredible accuracy. So when you typically leave for 8 hours, your dog learns what 8 hours of scent fade feels like. They use this as a clock to predict your return. Around 30 to 40 minutes before your expected arrival time, most dogs shift from resting to anticipatory behavior. They position themselves near the door or window, not because they heard your car, but because their internal scent-based clock told them it's almost time. And hey, if this is changing how you see your dog, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more dog lovers who want to understand their best friend on this level. 5. But here's where it gets really interesting. Your dog's behavior after you leave depends massively on how you say goodbye. Pay attention to this because it matters more than most people realize. Some owners make departures long and emotional, lots of petting, talking, reassurance. Others slip out quickly with minimal fuss. Most people think the emotional goodbye is kinder. Here's what research shows. A 2018 study in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior compared dogs whose owners had long emotional departures versus brief neutral ones. The findings were clear. Dogs with long emotional goodbyes showed elevated stress hormones for up to 40 minutes after departure. Dogs with brief, calm departures showed peak stress for only 5 to 10 minutes. The reason? Emotional departures signal to your dog that leaving is a big deal, something to be worried about. Brief, matter-of-fact departures communicate that leaving is normal, routine, nothing to fear. So that long hug and "I'll miss you so much" that feels loving? It's actually programming your dog to treat every departure as an emergency. The kindest goodbye is often the most boring one. 6. Here's something most owners never consider. Your dog doesn't experience your 8-hour absence the same way you do. Think about this. When you're gone for 8 hours, you're experiencing 8 hours of activities, interactions, changing environments. For your dog, it's 8 hours of waiting in the same space with the same stimuli. Research on canine time perception from Animal Cognition suggests dogs don't experience linear time the way humans do. They experience duration through activity and environmental changes. An hour of interesting activity feels shorter to a dog than an hour of waiting alone. But here's the remarkable part. Studies show that dogs sleeping during owner absence have lower cortisol levels and show less separation distress than dogs who remain awake and alert. Your dog who naps all day while you're gone isn't bored or depressed. They're engaging in the most adaptive coping mechanism they have, essentially time traveling through sleep to the moment you return. That lazy dog you come home to? They're not lazy. They're emotionally intelligent. 7. So let me bring this all together with the one thing I promised you at the beginning, the thing that will transform how you feel about leaving. Your dog doesn't just endure your absences. They've developed a complete ritual for managing them, a sophisticated coping system you never taught them. In the minutes after you leave, they don't just sit and suffer. They engage in what animal behaviorists call displacement behaviors. They check your scent locations for comfort. They settle in spaces that smell like you. They cycle between rest and brief vigilance. They use their biological clock to track your expected return. And here's the most beautiful part. A groundbreaking 2021 study from Azabu University measured oxytocin levels in dogs throughout owner absences. The researchers discovered something extraordinary. While stress hormones peak right after departure, oxytocin, the bonding hormone, remains elevated throughout the entire separation period. Even when you're not there, even when they can't see or hear or touch you, your dog's brain is maintaining a chemical connection to you. They're literally holding onto the bond through neurochemistry. So when you walk back through that door and they explode with joy, it's not because they forgot you or worried you'd never return. It's because they've been chemically connected to you every single minute you were gone, and now that connection can finally be physical again. Your dog doesn't just wait for you. They carry you with them through every moment of separation, written in their biology, proven in their brain chemistry. That's not just loyalty. That's a love that exists even in your absence, a bond that doesn't require your presence to remain unbroken. Every goodbye is temporary. The connection is permanent.